Welcome back to another edition of Top Fishing Flies. Today we're going to tie a gold-ribbed hare's ear and a gold-ribbed hare's ear wet. The hook I have in the vise is a standard wet fly nymph hook. This is a size 14. You can tie these from a size 10 to a size 20 if you'd like. We're going to start out by putting lead on the hook, and here I have 10 thousandths lead wire, and this is round. And what I'm going to use is 10 thousandths lead wire flat. I just took a bottle cap, put the lead wire on my desk, and took a bottle cap and crushed it down. Going to wrap the lead wire. And then we're just putting one wrap right next to the previous. And it makes a much nicer coverage there. You're not going to have the big open spaces from the round lead wire. I'm going to go back on this thorax section. Yeah, that broke off, so I'm just going to leave that be. If it didn't break on me, I would go back to the right to the end of the thorax. I'm going to use 8/0 70 denier black thread. I'm going to attach it behind the eye and secure the lead wraps. Get that pushed a little bit forward there. There we go. Several wraps in back so it doesn't move on me. And then go back and forth on that just a couple of times. We're going to start out by attaching the tail. And for the tail, I'm just going to use a few hairs. This is deer hair. You don't need many for the tail on a hare's ear. One long one there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it in there. I want the tail to be only about the length of the body, if that. Go ahead and wrap this. I went forward just to get it to lay down. We don't want it to spin like the front. There we go. It's spun a little bit, but it's not standing up. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess. Now I'm going to take a number 16 gold and silver tinsel, and I want to see the gold, so I'm going to tie it in with the silver side showing. And bring that right back to the tail. I'm going to take my beeswax, put a little bit of beeswax on the thread. I'm going to take hare's ear dubbing, and this is light. We don't need a lot of that. I'm going to wrap towards the rear first. And once my dubbing starts hitting, we'll take that forward. There we go. We take it up to the abdomen. You can pull the loose hairs off. Now we're going to take that gold tinsel and we're going to wrap that, and make sure you wrap it tightly. And we're going to tie that off. Fold it back and wrap on top of it one more time. For the wing case, you can use the turkey tail, I'm going to use a turkey quill because I don't have any turkey tails right here. I have that wing case, and that's about 1.5 the gap of the hook. I'm going to tie that in by the tip. For the wing case, you can pre-treat your wing case with a little bit of head cement to get it to stiffen up for you. The reason I took 1.5 the gap of the hook is when you pull it, it's going to shrink. I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess. I'm going to take my beeswax once again. I'm going to take a dark hare's ear. And we want this loop to be a little bit heavier. And we're going to go ahead and wrap that. Get that tight. And I'm going to put several wraps there by the head so I can get a little bit of that. We don't want to crowd the eye. Just put a layer down to about the one eye length from the eye of the hook. We're going to take our wing case and fold that over. Put a few wraps on top, put a few wraps in front. And then we can trim this off, and that will also help you to keep the material away from the eye of the hook. Then we're going to wrap that head. We'll take our whip finish. Trim that off, take some head cement. I'm going to put some head cement on the wing case. And then put some on the head. One last thing before we're finished. I'm going to take my Velcro and I'm going to pick out that thorax a little bit. Kind of pulling it forward when I pick it out. Then you can flatten it down. And here we have the gold-ribbed hare's ear nymph. I'm going to tie a gold-ribbed hare's ear wet fly. I have the standard wet nymph hook in the vise. I'm going to use the same 8/0 70 denier black thread. We're going to put a base of thread down to the tail position. I like to use it as a wet fly, and more often than not I will put floatant on it and fish it as a dry fly. For our tail I'm going to use brown hackle. We're going to make our tail just the length of the hook shank. For the rib on this, I'm going to use a fine copper wire instead of the gold tinsel. I'm going to tie that copper wire in. For the body, I'm going to use the hare's ear dubbing in the light color. You can make it in a dark color if you want. Make a couple of each and see which one works better for you. And then we're going to wrap that, go back to the tail, and then bring that forward. And I can see already I'm going to have to use more. Yeah, there we go. Now you want to just take out the real long guard hairs. You want the body to be scraggly. I'm going to take the copper wire and palmer that through. Even though this is on a wet fly nymph hook, this will float when you put floating on it. We're going to tie that off. That fine copper wire just breaks right off. I'm going to take a brown hackle. Going to tie that in. Break off the excess. We're only going to give this just 2 wraps will be good. And 2. And we'll tie that off. Hold everything back and wrap in front of it to lock it in. And break that off. Go ahead and hold it all back. And we'll wrap back on that hackle just maybe 2 thread widths just to set it towards the rear direction. You can kind of separate it away from the top. Now for the wing, I'm going to use turkey wing. And this particular wing, I put a lot of, used tan marker on a lot of this one. So this one is going to be a little bit darker, the wing. And you want to take 2 times the amount of the gap of the hook. And we'll take that wing and we're just going to fold it in half. There we go. And we want that wing to just go into the tail just slightly. Hold it in place. Pull it straight down. You see that front pick up. Put a couple wraps in front of it. And then you can remove the excess. Like I said, this is a great wet fly, but it's also a fantastic dry fly. We'll take our whip finish. Take our head cement, put it on the head, and get just a little bit on the bottom section of your wing. That'll help keep it together better. Here we have the hare's ear wet fly and the hare's ear gold-ribbed hare's ear nymph. This is a good combination. You put the hare's ear nymph on the bottom and put that wet fly a foot to a foot and a half above the nymph. Swing them in the current. Trout will take these quite readily. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.